Live from downtown Detroit, Local 4 News at 6 starts now.
Chaos erupts in East Point after a custody battle turns violent. This was the scene moments after state troopers got involved. Glad you're with us tonight for Local 4 News at 6. I'm Devin Skillion.
I'm Karen Drew in for Kimberly Gill. Police say that fight involved two families who opened fire on each other after a child custody hearing. Those shots hit two people and a nearby car dealership. Let's get live now to Sean Lay. And Sean, this is a long chain of events to unravel here.
You're not kidding. And here's the deal. You hit it right on the head, guys. We're talking about a bitter custody battle in court. It started in Mount Clemens, then a shootout as a result of that between family members that started down in East Point and continued into Roseville. Here is everything we've been able to piece together on this so far right now.
This was yesterday about 4 p.m. Running gun battle right on Gratiot, yeah. What I saw was just the broken glass, right? Fortunately, it was just a ricocheted bullet from exchange of gunfire across the street over there.
We'll walk you through this chaos starting here at Porsche Motor City on Gratiot. The showroom window is boarded up. Here's why. A gunshot came crashing through that window around 4 Tuesday afternoon. Anyone here could have been hit. Thankfully, no one was.
We were shocked. We were just really glad that no one was hurt.
The gunfire was coming from across Gratiot. The reason why is mind-boggling. A child custody hearing up in Mount Clemens led to members of that family involved in that hearing to start a rolling gun battle with each other. We're talking about both parents involved, police say, and members of their families shooting at each other in multiple locations. Right down the street from the Porsche dealership, this is one of the family members crashing into Grady's Lounge here in Roseville. And now, here's video from Michigan State Police helicopter taking some of those people involved in this chaos into custody.
Over that, it makes no sense, you know?
Absolutely wild. Now, checking with police all day today, one person in custody they believe is the person who was the aggressor here, shooting at family members, other family members shooting back, apparently in self-defense. More investigation, however, continuing. Two of those family members, guys, grazed by these bullets but are okay tonight. No one else on the street there up and down Gratiot was hit, luckily. Back to you.
All right, Sean, unreal.
Well, it's no secret that the air quality in Wayne County is among the worst in the state, and residents are paying the price with their health. Now, the county is hoping to get more insight where the air pollution is and what's causing it. Local 4's Will Jones joins us live in Southwest Detroit right now with the county's plan to install hundreds of air quality monitors. Will?
Karen, on a day like this, people like to head to a park. A lot of families spending time together here, playing on swings and doing other activities. But when the air quality is poor, that comes with some consequences. Well, there are going to be monitors up around the county to inform residents about the conditions, as well as helping the county officials go after those who's causing the pollution. Well before the wildfires in Canada impacted Wayne County, air quality was a major concern, making some people think twice about spending time outdoors.
If the air keeps getting worse, you know, it can mess all of us up.
The county is partnering with Just Air Solutions to put up 100 air quality monitors in various locations. They're also going to be handing out 500 mobile monitors to be attached to children's backpacks, along with sensors for their inhalers.
And so if we can get data about what air quality looks like every time a child uses their inhaler, we can learn the fingerprint of asthma here in our county.
Residents can sign up for air quality alerts in specific areas.
And what we've seen already in our data, in our work, not only here in Detroit but beyond, is that air quality can differ greatly from block to block, from community to community, neighborhood to neighborhood.
Darren Riley is the co-founder and CEO of Just Air Solutions. For Riley, his work is personal. He noticed a change to his health after moving to Detroit from out of state.
I developed asthma 5 years ago. I lived in Southwest Detroit, very close to a lot of heavy trucking industry, and me developing asthma as a long-term athlete was really critical.
The air monitors will be up and running by June, and there will be more information later on how residents can participate, how they can get those air quality monitors, maybe for their kids, and those sensors for their inhalers, as well as where those air quality monitors will be stationed all across the county. We're live in Southwest Detroit. Will Jones, Local 4.
Such a big issue. All right, we appreciate it. Thank you, Will.
Well, we have already been told to expect fireworks in the UAW national contract talks, and UAW's president Shawn Fain just upped the ante. He is making public his membership's demands, and they are lofty, to say the least. He's asking for things that Walter Reuther talked about back in the 40s, like a 32-hour work week. Our business editor Rob Maloney live tonight with a look at some of the things that he's asking for and the reaction to it, which has been swift, Rod.
Yeah, Devin, I'll tell you what, we're out in front of the Warren Tech Center, and I think the best way to describe this is Shawn Fain is out to break some eggs. Now, one of the things he did today was hand over the economic proposal, and the economic proposal is usually done in private, not anymore. So what he's asking for is essentially the world.
It's not enough to just survive. We should all have a right to thrive.
UAW President Shawn Fain wants everybody to know that the good old days as the companies have known them are long gone. Here's what he's calling the members' demands. Eliminate the tier system created under bankruptcy. Substantial wage increases, as you'd expect. But he also wants a restoration of a cost of living allowances in each year of the deal. A return to defined benefit pensions for everyone in the UAW, and establishing retiree medical benefits.
I know these demands sound ambitious, but I also know that the big three can easily afford them.
And if that wasn't enough, he took a swing for the fences with a 32-hour work week.
I have no issue at all that we're proposing a shorter work week. We have to get back to a standard where we have quality time for our members, where we have, these are quality of life issues.
Wayne State University professor and industry analyst Dr. Marek Master says Fain is setting very high expectations.
Or you might say they've thrown the whole kitchen sink in there, and they want to ask for a lot of things, and they'll be able to settle for some things probably which are less than what they'd like to get.
Mainly because for all Fain's bluster, the auto companies are not about to cave on a lot of the issues he raises.
I think that there are real limits to their ability to finance such an expensive labor agreement, and they will hold to that limitation. They know that in order for them to be competitive, they have to maintain as much free capital as possible.
Another thing that Fain wants is the ability to strike over plant closures, and right now federal law says you can only strike over economic issues, and that probably doesn't fall under that, but we'll have to see where that goes. And then he's looking to bring back the Jobs Bank. Now, what Fain is saying, and he's not calling it the Jobs Bank, what he's saying is if a company closes a plant and the workers end up laid off, that they should be able to do volunteer work and get paid by the companies to help their communities. Very lofty stuff that was long since taken away. We're going to see where this goes. Back to you.
And if those tough eggs are representative of the big three's resistance to this, you may have come up with the right metaphor. But once he delivers these proposals, Rod, to leadership, take us through how this moves on. What comes next?
Well, they give the economics in the next day or two, and then the next step is for the union locals to hold what's called the strike permission vote. Essentially, it's the vote that the rank and file says, okay, if things don't go well, then they can go ahead and order a strike. Remember that September 14th is the deadline at midnight, so we'll have to see where all of this is going, but it sure seems like that's where it's headed.
Boy, already headed kind of into that countdown then. All right, Rod.
Former President Donald Trump will be arrested and arraigned for a third time tomorrow, this time on charges related to his attempted efforts to overturn the 2020 presidential election results. Right now, law enforcement in Washington, D.C. preparing for an unprecedented moment in American history.
The attack on our nation's capital on January 6th, 2021 was an unprecedented assault on the seat of American democracy.
In the historical 45-page indictment, the former president faces 4 counts of conspiracies related to obstructing the peaceful transfer of power. On Wednesday, both former Vice President Mike Pence and his once chief of staff pointed to Mr. Trump's failed efforts to prove election fraud.
If he has the evidence, then all these conspiracy charges would go away. But that's not the case that you hear his defense team presenting.
Our defense is going to be focusing on the fact that what we have now is an administration that has criminalized the free speech and advocacy of a prior administration during the time that there is a political election going on.
Judge Tanya Chutkan on the federal bench since 2014 has been randomly selected to try the case. Given the violence that rocked the nation's capital on January 6th of 2021, the Trump defense team may seek to move the trial out of D.C.
There's other options. I mean, there's certainly West Virginia, which is close by. There's other areas.
6 co-conspirators are also mentioned in the indictment but remain unnamed since no charges have been filed as of now.
Our investigation of other individuals continues.
Now, although he was given the option to be arraigned via video from his property in Bedminster, New Jersey, it appears the former president is opting to travel to the nation's capital and stand before the judge in person.
Michigan State Police using their eye in the sky to track down a suspect in a drive-by shooting. The MSP chopper Trooper 2 was called in after a driver recklessly sped away from Detroit police. A nearby MSP sergeant attempted a pit maneuver along Joy Road, which did not work. So Trooper 2 and its night vision camera kept following the man to a home in Redford, and that's where police were able to take him into custody. He is locked up, charged with fleeing and eluding while Redford Township Police investigate the initial shooting.